just a boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 335 days until Christmas 2023. Oh, and a huge thanks to my friend Wu-Tang Wells, Russell, for putting together the new intro. So I really appreciate that. Russell's been a great friend, a huge help to the channel. So if you guys know Russell, Wu-Tang Wells, give him a shout out. He did a great job. And the reason I changed it, we did have the Meghan Trainor song for the intro, but I was getting copyrighted by that like every day, and I was having to go trim it, all kinds of things like that. So this song is licensed by YouTube itself. I found it and was able to use it in the intro, and I don't have to worry about any kind of copyrights, any kind of strikes or anything like that. So that being said, hey, thank you all for being here today. We were going to talk about the Bad Batch, episode 5, in just a moment. But before we get to that, let me introduce my good friends. You guys know them. Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and of course, Megan from Star Wars Meg.
Thank you so much for having me.
Meg's Cantina.
Santa, Jason, this community, I appreciate you all so much. And thank you for having me on your show, Santa.
Oh,
you know what I'll say, Santa?
What?
You're welcome.
Yeah, look,
coming in with the jokes.
I know that Meg is a huge asset to my channel, and I see it very much the way that you said, Jason. You guys
lost me at huge ass.
You guys are the best of the best, and even though, who are your guests? I don't have your names on there.
It's okay.
Should I put them back?
I wouldn't.
Confused.
Honestly, I don't think it's good for you.
Hey, it's all good. I do have some fun things though. I have a public mailbox, and that's posted everywhere. You guys can find it. And every now and then, I get gifts, which is awesome. I love getting gifts. Santa, gives gifts, but I love getting gifts as well. And this last week, somebody saw me do the review of these playing cards. Right, these are the gold deck. It's a special release. They're fantastic.
It's like a High Republic thing?
No, these are like
throughout
the saga, but they're very high quality cards. Like the material they're made out of is like embossed. It's got
oh wow,
and it's got the Star Wars characters on them, stuff like that.
Oh,
but,
little BB-8.
But the Star Wars characters are only on the face cards. You can see like the numbers are just regular cards, but it's the face cards, and I've got them all up here.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, they're fine. They're fine. But here's what I want to show you. So these are great. These are awesome. Well, people were talking about how the red and blue deck exists. Well, here's the red and blue deck. And they were wondering, like, wait, what do you have? I mean, it's the gold deck. It's not the red or the blue. So my friend Vanessa, who lives down in Orlando, and I got to meet her and her wonderful boys when we went down to visit, sent me this as a gift. And inside, we've got, inside the tin, right, the red and the blue deck. Now, these are different because the red deck, these are villains. These, every card has something on it. Which is
Man,
great.
I love the AT-AT driver. I don't think I love anything more in Star Wars than an AT-AT driver.
There's
There's
Watto.
Watto. You know, hey.
When Wano, I mean, honorable mention.
Yeah. So these are great. I just love them.
I've got a question for you guys. So you know James Earl Jones as Darth Vader?
Yes.
Is there like a line, because he's got like such a silky smooth voice, is there one Darth Vader line that's really like satisfying to your ears, that whenever you think of Darth Vader, that's the line you think of?
No, I kid. That's not it.
Yeah. I'm not kidding at all. I loved that when I saw it. I was like, everyone's like, you're crazy. I'm like, it's Frankenstein. Everybody's like, so what? I'm like, but it's Frankenstein, man. I love Frankenstein.
Did you see the French version of like that was like a viral video a couple of years ago? The French version of Vader screaming no from Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much better. It's got such like, an anger to it.
Yeah. What is it? What is no in French?
Well, no in French is just non, but he says it like really loud and like throaty, and it's just perfect.
Okay.
I like the line when Darth Vader tells Admiral Piet, "Do not let me down, Admiral Piet." It's just got a nice ring to it.
Yeah. I am. Yeah, that's a hard one. That question is actually really hard because it depends on which movie. I think my mind is whatever the context is that will take me to that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is where I'll kind of like have that kind of oral reaction to it. But yeah, I think You Feel Me for the Last Time is would probably be my go-to.
Feel me for the last time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Pray I don't alter it again. Or further.
Right.
So the other thing
comments are gonna be like, Santa doesn't know Star Wars.
I know.
I'm bad. I know I could like probably write the script out to every Star Wars movie. Like if I had to, perfect.
Right.
But if you asked me to quote it to you right now as a joke, I couldn't do it.
I think we all have that one Star Wars movie where we just know the dialogue well. Mm-hmm. I have that for Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm. I've prepared sermons for church and preaching on Sundays and things like that, and I'll misquote scripture sometimes. It's just my brain is broken. Like I can't. Like I know the scripture. I studied it the entire week. I got into all kinds of study materials for them, and spend hours and hours and hours preparing and still misquote it. But
do you ever get stage fright when you go to do your sermons, or is that like a different environment because you're like everybody in community?
No, you know what? I'm glad you asked that because Dawn Basham came and met me down in Cincinnati, and she brought her mom and her daughter, and it was her mom's birthday, and I was doing a presentation in front of a group of folks there as a Santa Claus,
right?
And telling them about what it is to be Santa. And before I went up, I'm sitting at the speaker's table, and Dawn and her family's with me there, and I was like, I'm kind of anxious, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, "Do you know what you're going to say when you get up there?" I'm like, "I have no idea what I'm going to say when I get up there. I don't know. I'll make it up." And so the anxiety was really, really high. And then I get up there, everything went great. And to be truthful, before I do every live stream, I have the same problem.
Santa, do you ever get up on the podium at church and you accidentally say, "Hello, Star Wars fans. There are only days until 2023.
No, I don't preach anymore. I let the young kids do that. I'm old, and people don't want to listen to old fat guys. They'd rather listen to young cool guys.
Santa, it's really important if you're like a minister or a priest, or you're just preaching to the church. It's really important you enunciate, because once we had a priest who was like, "And now we have got to remember what Jesus taught us." And I thought, wait a minute, Jesus had a tortoise?
I was a choir director at church for a while as well, and God, when in a song, when they'll say that God or Lord is the one that people always mess, like they don't pronounce the D at the end of Lord. And so we're all the time singing Delore. I don't know who he is, but
Law.
it happens all the
Mandalore.
time. Yeah.
What you play? What you play the trombone or the sax?
Trombone.
So do you sing as well, or do you
I
bust
can
out the
sing.
trombone? You're like, it's a B.
No,
Okay.
I can sing, but I was not a vocal major, and I'm okay. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Nobody's
punk,
gonna
dude.
request.
You're punk. It's cool.
Nobody's gonna
Francis
request.
seems
Hey,
like the
could you?
kind of guy who claims he can't sing very well, but then he busts out something like Barry White's, like in that deep baritone, and it's just the best thing ever.
So I could feel it coming in the air tonight. Like, whoa,
Not gonna happen.
Santa.
You guys aren't gonna goad me into it. I'm not doing
No.
it. I'm.
By the end of the
He's
show.
a triple threat, according to Nick. He's got
I saw
the
that.
trombone, the preaching, and the singing.
Yep.
You know, and the Star Wars.
body and
So, so I've got some boxes that I've. This one here I opened, but I've got two more that I haven't opened yet. This one came from what is it? GameStop.
Okay.
And we got a couple of Mando figures. The Death Watch Mandalorian. It's fantastic.
You're not throwing your
Vintage
address
collection.
up on the screen right there, are you? Right now with that?
Nope, it's
Okay.
this is the
Okay.
return address. I
Okay.
cut my address off.
Just-
This one's so I always get two of these, but
Ooh.
so there's that. Now I got two more. Hold on, I got two more.
Do you know what we need in The Mandalorian? We need someone called Post Vizsla, because we have Pre Vizsla, Paz Vizsla, Tar Vizsla.
That's true.
And he's all like,
true.
he's like, I met your boyfriend yesterday. He's like a pretty cool guy. Post Malone
here-
lyrics make me laugh so much. I don't know why. They're so bad.
Here's another one from.
Did you see
GameStop.
him do that Nirvana gig during lockdown?
Oh, yeah, and anybody who thinks it's good is wrong. Sorry.
Did they mess it
sorry.
up?
Jedi Mike passive aggressive Vizsla? Can we get that one?
They did confirm in Book of Boba that Paz Vizsla is related to Tar Vizsla, because he says, I want the dark saber because it's from my house or my ancestry or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this one
Yeah,
here.
it's
This
good.
is great. So I've been excited to get this. I have other figures of Ahsoka, but here we've got Ahsoka from Mando. So this is
that's nice.
That's a nice
yeah
one.
Rosario Dawson Ahsoka, which is great. There we go. This card here is bent bad, but you know, collectors that annoys them. But you know, I'm opening them.
Yeah. Are you're that's one to keep closed and one to open? Or
That's typically the case. Yeah,
Okay.
normally I keep one in the case and then one that I open. Now this,
so they're just making your mind up for you which one to open. So that's kind of convenient.
this came to me from Dorkside Toys. Now this is stuff that I ordered. Dorkside Toys is no longer doing business. Their website's up. People can still order from them. I believe. Last I checked, don't order from Dorkside right now. They've got some things that are kind of messed up. Mark's in the chat. He can tell us. Like that's Mark's a collector, and Dorkside isn't fulfilling. Also, we had a partner with Old Republic Collectibles, also now defunct. Not the deal. So
That's too bad.
here's Dorkside. Yeah, it is. Because Dorkside did a good job on like packaging and shipping figures that were in good shape. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't be in those bent cards like the ones I just got from GameStop, or God forbid you ordered something from Walmart or Target. They're terrible.
Right.
You could never predict what they're going to do. Oh,
Right.
the Mandalorian again.
Yeah.
This one's
I
one
watched
that I just.
last 2 days. I watched all of the Mandos again. I hadn't
Oh,
watched
yeah.
it in a long time. It was kind of weird. It was a weird experience. But when I saw that armor, I was like, you know what? Kind of missed the old, like, I don't know what we call that, cheap Mando.
Yeah, like
I miss it too. It looks so much like more
It's fun.
authentic to what it is to be a Mando. I've got to say, I didn't rewatch The Mandalorian season 1 for a long time. I think I've only gone back and rewatched it this summer, but
Mhm.
it's surprisingly very easy to rewatch compared to other shows.
Yeah.
yeah.
Those first 5 episodes are they just flow by.
I completely agree.
It really doesn't tell you a lot. It actually, like, when I watched it on a rewatch, the stuff that when it was actually giving you info, I was like, oh, Yoda, I mean, Baby Yoda, not a Strandcast, too ugly. Like, oh, yeah, sticks out. You know what I mean? It's funny.
The other thing about Mando season 1 is that it's very accessible to non-Star Wars fans. Like, I've shown it to my dad, who's never watched any Star Wars. I mean, he's aware of it. It's been around since forever, but he's not a Star Wars fan. He is a Westerns. Like, he is big time into Westerns. And I was like, Dad, you should like this because it's like Western, right? He's going into the bar and like messing people up. That's Western. So yeah, it's very accessible. That you don't need to know Star Wars to watch it. And then you start to follow this, the man and the cub kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's been done before. So it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I did not have this one. I saw a thing where a vintage collection Mando, they made like 7 of these already. Right? Different armor. You've got the original armor. You've got his Beskar armor. You've got the Beskar armor with the snow on it. You got the Beskar armor with the soft goods cape. You've got him wearing the uniform of in season 2 when he goes undercover, right? Din Djarin goes undercover. Yeah. So there, all these different versions of Mandalorian, and we start to see people say, well, they're not making any money on Star Wars. Well, certainly one, Grogu is ubiquitous. He's everywhere. Second, the folks at Hasbro are rinse and repeat on Din Djarin because this guy's going to sell, over and over again.
And don't believe anyone who tells you Star Wars isn't doing well. I just saw Star Wars Underworld posted on Twitter an analytics. I know you don't like them, Jason. I'm sorry. But they basically said that Mando was the most watched Star Wars show or second most watched Star Wars show last month. So that's really good. I do have to slip out, guys, just for like 5-10 minutes. I'll be right back.
Yep. Megan will be right back. She warned me ahead of time. She's got some packages coming in the mail, so she's got to run. I do have other Star Wars merch that I don't know everybody has seen, but I do have this. I got to find it here.
Did you collect Revenge of the Sith toys, or were you like not in at that point?
No, we were too poor.
They made a Darth Vader back then, and it was like Anakin, and you could put on all of the pieces of the Darth Vader on the Anakin. And they need to do that for Mando with the interchangeable Beskar pieces. If they made that one, I'd buy that one. You know what I mean? If you could change it out, that one, and pull off the chest piece, put the Beskar chest piece on. I'm like, come on, guys, let's do this. It's time.
I had to save this image because I know that there's been an effort to scrub it from history. And it's something that I found, well, it was sent to us. And it has to do with our friend Jason here. And, his love for Grogu is without question.
It better not be that chicken nuggies one. I'll walk.
What? Chicken nuggy. What are you talking about? Chicken nuggy?
I know what's going on here.
What? Wait. What are you talking about?
I know Baymax is running right now. He's like, chicken nugget. Here it is, man. Here it is.
But this is what?
I hate that picture. I hate everything about it. I hate my picture of me. I hate the picture of the nuggies for life. I hate the chicken nuggies.
This is the new sponsor of your show, Making Star Wars, brought to you by Chicken Nuggies. You can see right there. It's endorsed right on Jason's YouTube channel. Chicken Nuggies for life.
For life.
Yeah. I expect this to be in like all of the Making Star Wars introductions, disclosing today's show brought to you by Chicken Nuggies for life.
Today's Making Star Wars show is brought to you by Chicken Nuggies for life. Yep. And that's little Grogu saying yep from the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
You know how Bespin's always asking for coffee, Ko-Fi. He just wants folks to get him some coffee. All Jason wants is chicky nuggies. That's it. Yeah, it sells on everything, right? I mean, everything. So there's that. Let's see, what else did I have before we get into the actual news of the day? We're having way too much fun. Let's see.
But if any of you are parents, when you drop your kids off at school, like literally count the amount of Grogu stuff you see. Once again, I'm not even saying I know if this is good for Star Wars in the end. It might not be, because like I said, I don't think there's something that you can replicate. You can't replicate Grogu like taking off. You can hope for it, but when I take my kids to school in the morning, I'm not even kidding. Like the other day, we counted, me and the kids, and we got like 19 Grogu items in our line of sight. That's, if our school is anyway an average, it's like they're selling that crap.
Nick says, if you buy Bespin a coffee, I'll lovingly remind him of the Arsenal versus Man United from Sunday for free. Hey, extra. It's like when you make a donation to a charity event and they'll double your donation if you donate, So yeah. Nick is offering to double your donation. Not only, will Bespin get the benefit of your coffee, but Nick will be sure to lovingly remind him of the football score from this past weekend. Oh my goodness.
Nick plays Fortnite as Boba when we team up on Mando. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good time. And then Bespin's playing some like anime thing that we watch too. But I'm like, what are you doing, man? You don't belong in this group right now, Bespin. So no coffee for you.
There's one more. Peter Griffin just bought a 1,000-piece Grogu puzzle. See?
That's some Grogu love, man. That's a lot of green.
And the Sabersmith. I see Grogu t-shirts all over the university. Mm. Yeah, they're everywhere. Backpacks, like everything. My daughter, Kayla, who's basically Meg's age. She's a little
college graduate Kayla. That's what we call her around here.
College graduate Kayla, who is right now down at Disney World at Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. They're celebrating graduation by taking a trip down to Orlando, and cool. She's down there at the Kingdom, and but anyhow, she bought one of these like Grogu backpacks, Mandalorian backpacks, got Grogu on it. It's quite expensive. It's like $80, So yeah, they're very popular, very, very popular of all ages. There is another topic I wanted to kind of discuss. I just finished reading Battle of Jedha, which is a High Republic novel. It's based Jedha, of course, from Rogue One, and the very end of that novel is very, very good, like very good. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I know not everybody's reading the High Republic. It's not everybody's jam. But I'm not. But you could tell me why it's cool. I mean, it's good to know. Like, yeah, it's good to know like what's going on. If I should jump back in at some point or not, This is. I've got a general recommendation. Wave 2. So, or phase 2. Phase 2 of the High Republic happens before phase 1. So they're doing it like movie order, like original trilogy, prequel, sequels. They're doing it in that order, which is dumb. But we've talked about that before. This phase 2 is the prequel to phase 1. And it's actually really good. It's really good. I'm enjoying it immensely. But this book here, Convergence by Zoraida Cordova. Zoraida is maybe my least favorite Star Wars author. I read another book of hers that's based around Galaxy's Edge, that whole thing. And she's more of a romance novelist than like a sci-fi or a fantasy fiction kind of writer. She's not my cup of tea. This book by Convergence is better than the other one she wrote, but its tie into the High Republic overall theme for the phase 2 is very thin. Very thin.
What is the overall theme of Phase 2? Would you say, if you had
Well,
to,
it's
if you could
setting up.
soundbite it? I don't know.
No, it's setting up the path of the open hand. The path of the open hand.
I don't know what
will-
that means.
Right. It's it's the path of the open
Hi!
hand. It is the precursor to the bad guys that are in Phase 1. So the Nile.
The Nile, right?
Not
The
the
Nile
river.
they evolve
Earth
out of
Nihilist.
the path of the open hand. The path of the open hand is a religion that believes that nobody should manipulate the Force in any way, and that with it's sort of the butterfly effect kind of thing. If you use the Force over here, it'll affect something over there unpredictably. So you use the Force here to save somebody's life. Well, it'll take somebody's life over there if you do that. Or,
Okay.
you-
Yin and yang kind of.
There were like
philosophy.
10
Yeah.
people in that writing group, and all they could come up with was the path of the open hand.
slap.
it does get very interesting in the way that it's a cult. It's a cult movement. And you can see after reading Phase 1 and Phase 2, I can see where they're setting up.
Is there like a Jim Jones in the open hand cult?
Sort of.
Sort of.
It's very cult.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
cult. Sabersmith. Should we cover these books in class? I would encourage. So, after starting to read this Phase 2, I would encourage anybody that tried Phase 1 and were like, "Nah, I'm out," like my friend Megan. Right. So I would say, try Phase 2. I think it introduces everything much better. And this path of the open hand, which will become the Nile, this cult is manipulate. Well, they're becoming more and more powerful, and they're kind of undermining things. They're kind of getting in the way of things, and ultimately are going to be a force of change within the Jedi Order, like death, destruction, stuff like that. Right? Good fun stuff.
Okay.
Convergence is all about these two planets, and the people are warring between one another, and they're trying to set up a peace treaty between these two planets. But the history of war goes back for generations, and you killed my aunt and my uncle, but you killed my cousin and my brother, and all this kind of stuff, right? So there's a lot of animosity between them, and trying to set up the peace between these two planets. The Jedi eventually get involved, blah, 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 right? Well, it carries directly into Battle of Jedha. And of course, Jedha we know from Rogue One, and you start to see about the different religions that are represented on Jedha around the Force. It's a good book. This book is very good. And as I was going through this book, I was wondering, do you need to read this book, Convergence, to be able to understand and appreciate this book? I would say yes and no. Like, no, if you just want to jump into this book, you could. And you'll be confused about some of it, or you'll be less informed about some of it than you would be if you watched or you read the other. Think of it like The Mandalorian. Mandalorian Season 2, Grogu goes to Luke Skywalker. If you did not watch Book of Boba Fett, you come to Mando Season 3, and Grogu's back with Din Djarin, but they didn't explain it.
Yeah.
That's where
To be
you would
honest with
be.
you, there will come a point where you cannot ignore the High Republic anymore. Whether it's the Acolytes, probably some Star Wars films in the future. I feel as though eventually you're either on board or Star Wars isn't for you anymore. And I've got to say, I'm inspired to actually give it a second chance. Ironically, what's come of this last week, I'm like, you know what? Why not?
Here's
Why
what I
not
want to say.
High Republic another go? It sounds really good. There are just concepts, and it feels as though there's so much to this story that I just don't understand, because there needs to be, I know StarWars.com have something similar, but there needs to be more like an accessible point where they're like, this is the start, this is the context, this is this, this is this. Because you talk about the Nile, I just think of Egypt. I mean,
You
Right.
say Jedha, I think of the car.
So this is why I said I would start with phase 2
Mhm.
or phase 2, wave 1. I would start there. Like I would, like for anybody who tried it before and said, "Nah, I can't. I'm out." Try it with phase 2 and see if it helps. It did, like as I'm reading through it, it makes more sense to me. Everything is building. Of course, I've gone through phase 1 and I know sort of where it's going. Like you may not know that the path of the open hand is going to end up being the Nile, but that's sort of irrelevant if you were to go through it. You don't need to know that because the Nile has nothing to do with anything. And when you get to phase 2 or phase 1, which is like the original trilogy to the prequels, things will make more sense. And that's why I think it was really dumb of them to release it in the order that they did. Like it makes no sense to me. But the last of this book, like the last chapter, last 2 chapters or so of this book are gold, 100% gold. And especially Meg, as you were talking about, like the things that have happened over the last few days, tie into the theme of the end of this book beautifully. I'm like, I wish Star Wars fans would read like the last chapter, maybe the last 2 chapters of the Battle of Jedha, because it's brilliant.
I will definitely
Absolutely.
check it out. Whenever you say Jeddah, it sounds like you're saying Jedi in a certain
Jedha.
accent. Jason, are
My-
you a Jeddah?
I'm a Jedha. Yeah, I'm a Jedha. Been
It's
a Jedha my whole
You
life.
look like a Jeddah.
it's
Used to be a Padawan. I'm a Jedha.
It's an accent translation over our different origins. Hey, so by the way, talking about
I love
books,
Daisy Ridley. You showed her
On-
for 2 seconds. My serotonin level just went through the roof.
very good. We'll
I
come right
love
back.
Daisy Ridley. I love her new haircut. There's something about it.
I love her as well. But you know, I'm a Ray stan anyway. So what am I
Jason, are
going
you
to
a
do?
race fan?
No.
You know, here's
No, I like
there
her.
was this.
like her.
Let me mention this real quick.
I'm a po' boy.
Plagueis.
Can I be a po' boy?
You guys know what a hard time I've given to Plagueis. On our Patreon, I'm uploading videos here, going through the Darth Plagueis novel. We're going to go through the entire book together. I've got the first episode up, the prologue, and it's only about 15 minutes long. And you can
Santa, can you take the background from the Plagueis book and take Palpatine off of the chair and put it behind you and make that your background all the time?
Yeah.
That would be so sweet if you did that. That would be rad,
Honestly,
man.
but this format was so pleasurable to listen to. I watched
thank
your
you.
video when you posted it and you announced it in the Discord. It's
Yes.
such a nice way of doing it because you can comment along while I can't remember the narrator's name talks, but it's really good. And I know
Thank
you don't like Darth Plagueis, but I think it's because of the way it may have been marketed to you.
Yes.
Because I think ultimately the reason people care about him is because they care about Sidious.
Yeah.
Yes. And in this prologue, you at the end of it, when I kind of summarize it, you see what my base complaint against the book is. And so if you guys, just for $1 a month, you can support me on Patreon. It does wonders for the channel. It helps me out immensely. And of course, there's other tiers beyond that. But you can follow along here. And
you can ask a question, right? You can ask a question for the show.
You can
Unlimited
ask
super
questions.
chat.
It's your super chat.
And you could do this super chat thing, right? So this is a way you can get a super chat on the channel without actually buying a super chat in YouTube. Is you can post a question here and I'll address it during the live stream if it's appropriate. I always have to say that because I've got 2 friends
Oh, never mind.
that live stream with me all the time, and
know who they are.
we've got a provocateur who is in our Discord DM with the 3 of us, who is likewise a problem. He really
sounds
is.
like a Jeddah.
He instigates. Not only did he create an image that Jason hates, but he's created many images that Santa hates as well. It's just,
It's a picture that I hate. That's Baymax's next task. Create an image I hate.
we need one of Meg that she hates. You've got like Meg as Megatron, which is brilliant. He did a really good job.
She gets Megatron. You get like this like sexy body with like a Kathleen Kennedy G-string.
Yeah.
And I'm just like a fat guy with chicken nuggies.
Right.
Stop complaining.
Jason, you're too harsh on yourself. You are exactly, perfectly, whatever for what you should be.
I'm gonna put that on my dating profile. My friend says I'm perfectly whatever.
I didn't know where I was going with that.
So yeah, Daisy Ridley. This interview on Variety is wonderful. Oh, I was going to say there is a presumption that anybody that watches my live streams or that co-hosts with me, come on to live streams with me and talks with me, agree with my positions primarily. You could not be more wrong, my friends. You could not.
He's a Ray boy. I'm a Po boy.
And I have publicly said before that I like Ray better than I like Anakin, and it actually
hurts deep down.
It made Megan swoon. Like she passed out for a while the first time I said it. And she woke up and said, "Where am I? What happened?" Like
put the picture back on and then ask Meg again. And I think
that's not fair, Jason.
See eye to eye with you.
Because you're asking a different part of me to judge, and it's not my brain.
Oh, you're turning me red again. Don't do that.
Kind of like wouldn't she be good if they brought back Zod? Remember in Superman when Zod had like the sexy short-haired chick that was like his underling? She kind of has that going on for her right now. I want to see her as Zod's girlfriend or whatever that woman was. She kind of like has that going for her.
So she did this interview. I agree. She looks great. She looks hot.
Kneel before Zod.
But here in this interview, there's been a couple things that have made the Star Wars rounds. That's Ursa. Lobo says that's Ursa.
The short rounds, as we say around here.
Daisy's face, the way you paused it, is very funny.
No.
Oh no, Daisy. Don't do that. Face.
She's back to Anakin. Meg's like, yeah, you know what? Anakin's cool. What are you doing?
Anakin's the way. I think Santa was just triggering her, and that's why she did the face.
And
even Daisy really agrees Anakin's better.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys couldn't disagree with me more on many of my takes, but we're still friends. And you know what? You don't have to agree on things to be friends. That's a lesson that the world needs to learn.
Yeah, it's a pretty important one.
And
you end up making your world really small if you don't. You'll learn that as you get to be 100 years old like us.
Right. or just a little tiny baby like Megan. Right? Like,
little tiny baby Meg.
Yeah, exactly. She's just a little tiny baby.
Little tiny Jedha.
You're a Jedha. I'm not a Jedha.
Jedha cheese. Do you think they have Jedha cheese at Disneyland? They should. Jedha cheese. Come on.
I think if you're not careful, you're going to end up with a Jedha cheese endorsement for your channel too,
or a Mike Porter tattoo.
Yeah, Jason, you're the next one. It was Santa, then me, and apparently you're next.
Yes, you're coming. Yeah, you're going to get your treatment soon enough. Brace yourself.
Don't care.
Don't care. It's a badge of honor, actually. I find it quite good that he covered me that way.
Jason, anyway. You need to say something like really Disney shill, like
he already has
Praise Galaxy's Edge or something, because they'll all be taking notes on these streams.
Kathleen Kennedy is probably the best thing that could have happened to Star Wars after 2012.
Perfect. So we gave it a nice little space in there, so you can clip that out. There you go. Melvin, Merry Christmas. We just gave you a gift. So Daisy Ridley became one of the most prominent female actors when she took the role of Rey. And it says, does Ridley have any advice for female actors joining the Star Wars universe? And she said, the world is a crazy place. It's important to tune out the stuff.
Yeah.
What stuff could she be talking about?
So I think we all know what kind of fans. She's talking about, but you know her response when she said the world is a crazy place. It
Yeah.
reminds me of like when you ask a politician something, and they're like, define the word "the."
Well, it depends what the meaning of is. I learned that
That's the
from
one. Yeah.
yeah, I learned that from one of our presidents. Depends what the meaning of is. I'm like, really? I didn't know that we had confusion on that term, but yeah. But she goes on to talk about two upcoming major Star Wars projects are also going to spotlight female characters, including Amanda Stanberg headlining The Acolyte, which boasts Leslie Headland as the showrunner, and Rosario Dawson reprising the role of Ahsoka. And so this is a quote I wanted to highlight as well. Not just with Star Wars, but with everything. You try to be in the moment and enjoy it, right? So there's that good thing. Try to be in the moment and enjoy it, because life moves quickly. My friends, that's great advice. And having been somebody who went out and did like conventions, political conventions, and I've gone out with picket signs, and I've gone marched in parades, and I've, been a provocateur in my past. Life is too short. Life moves way too quickly, and be in the moment. Enjoy it. Enjoy life, and try to make the world better. That's a message that I mentioned Friday. Like, trying to be a bridge. Try to reach across the aisle. Try to do something that builds friendships and memories that are positive, and make some sort of positive impact on today. And if you fail today, try again tomorrow, because it happens.
Positivity all the way.
This is something that she said here. Amanda Stanberg can handle herself. She's been working a long time. And she said, I sat next to someone at Wakanda Forever premiere. An executive said, The Acolyte is amazing. Well, The Acolyte, aren't they? How does he know The Acolyte's amazing? Jason? They're not even filming that yet, are they?
No.
They are filming it, but
they're filming it, but they're not.
Executives have to say that.
Yeah. That was one where I was like, I don't know if that should have been a soundbite in this article, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like Variety knows that's complete fluff.
It's like going into the Apple store and asking if their iPads are good.
Yeah. What's good? All of it. All of it.
You'll never get one that says, nah, go for the Samsung.
You're in the wrong store. It's all garbage here. Yeah. This is I wanted to say that here's actually everyone knows how things are. This is what Meg said earlier. I think everybody knows what she's talking about and how they can be. So we're all living in that, with people saying more than they need to and commenting more than they need to. It's so individual. Find the good in it all and enjoy it. I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever said more than you need to?
Never.
You find out
Not
me. I'm the kind of person that if I talk too much, I end up destroying my initial point. It's just the way my brain works. I go on tangents. So I've kind of learned over the years to just find the full stop, or as you guys call it, a period. Not that kind of period. See, I'm doing it again.
I'll say that I have my brain, the way it works, is I'll wake up in the middle of the night kind of stressed out about something I said in 1988. And just be like, I can't believe I said that thing. And it bothers me. Not only 1988, but in 2020. I'll be like, I was a flippin' idiot when I said this thing to this person, and now it bothers me. And I'll wake up in the middle of the night worried about it and thinking, what kind of absolute buffoon am I? And we've had a thing here between the three of us. We're friends. Every now and then, we're having a good time, and we'll say something that will get turned into something we didn't intend it to, and sometimes that's funny, and sometimes it's horrific. I was telling Meg that a few months ago, I woke up in the middle of the night on the weekend thinking, "Oh, I've really done it. I've really put my foot in my mouth with Meg. She's never going to want to talk to me again. I'm such a terrible person. She doesn't need this in her life. And but I reach out to Meg and I talk to Meg. She said, "Oh no, Brian, things are fine." And I'm like, "Well, I was just worried." Because my brain works this way. And when I see this quote from Daisy, I said, with people saying more than they need to and commenting more than they need to, it happens. It happens. We're all humans, and we all say things that we later regret.
Absolutely. I mean, and the unfortunate reality with social media is people who are already out to get you, whether you're Daisy Ridley or just a YouTuber and you say something on a stream in the heat of the moment or whatever it is, people will just say that that's you. You're branded as those words. If they don't know about the backstory, if you're having a bad week, if you didn't actually mean what you say, we've all had in our personal lives interactions with our parents or our friends or our partners where we get heated and sometimes we use hyperbole and we don't say exactly what we meant. The problem with online is when you do that, people use that as the definitive laminated comment that represents everything about your personality. And it's a shame. And as Daisy said, that's why you've just got to just ignore it and move on.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, in a weird way, the internet is a little bit like Santa's evil internal monologue, in the sense that you can go and you can talk, 20 hours a week on YouTube. And then somebody or yourself can make it seem like that 1 5-minute time is the totality of everything you said, losing context. And that's what's important a lot of the times is context. Like when you hear that thing in your head telling you that, it's taking that one quote of whatever it was that you said to Meg, and it's erasing everything that came before it and everything that came after. The fact that you would make parted on good terms, fine. And it just takes that snapshot and says that snapshot is this thing. And that's what's obviously what our brains do. There's something very flawed but human about it, but it's not good. I'll tell you that.
And I kind of feel like that's representative of, the last few days in a way. It's like some people have really dragged this out and mischaracterized the situation.
Yeah.
And as you say, our brains do that, but social media is always a more condensed, exaggerated, pressurized form of that. And it's a shame when the dialogue stops and it just ends up being, you're this thing and you're bad and we're branding you. And I feel as though Kelly Marie Tran and John Boyega faced the same thing in The Last Jedi. And it's like, it's so ridiculous when you step back and see the whole perspective.
I agree. And she goes on in here in an interview, and people have clipped it out, and it's been reported, where she says, "Hey, yeah, I'd like to come back to Star Wars. I need a job." She's willing to come back, and people have quoted her before saying, she's the character's story has already ended. She doesn't see where it needs to go, or where Boyega has said, "No, you're not going to Disney Plus me," or whatnot, right? Well, over time, as things happen and as a story gets built, what was the other story? Like, I'm not going to do this. I know what it is, right? It's Kenobi season 2. They're like, well, it's the story. We wrote the story. It's the story. We're not going to do a season 2 unless there's a compelling story to write. Well, maybe today there's not, but maybe there is. Maybe they're working on a Kenobi season 2. Maybe they're not. Maybe there are people trying to come up with the compelling story, right? And when they come up with the compelling story, and I think there's something else that people forget about Kenobi. And I was listening to the Nerd Theory from last night, and they were kind of going on about how Deborah Chow maybe fumbled the ball with Kenobi season 1. And there's different opinions. Your mileage may vary. It's all subjective. But I think people forget that Ian McGregor was involved as a executive producer of Kenobi.
Yeah.
And people are wanting to say, well, Deborah Chow, she can't do Star Wars. Well, calm down. Like,
it's the whole thing of that, isn't it? It's like people were saying Robert Rodriguez is useless because Book of Boba was bad. It's like he chose the episodes he wanted to direct, but it was written by Favreau and Filoni and others. And, we always ascribe the burden of if a film does badly in the eyes of some fans to the one name that shows up first. But often situations on production are so much more complicated. And I think the Skeleton Crew stuff that Jason broke might be like a turning point in the way the fandom perceives the complications of this kind of thing, because we haven't had a story from a Disney Plus project until this point where the production has been this disastrous. I don't know if I'm right in saying that, but that's what it seems like.
Yeah, so let me introduce quickly before Jason answers that, because our friend Bespin, he published this article saying that, and Meg, you covered this brilliantly as well. The Skeleton Crew departments are beginning to wrap. And again, messages get crossed, lines get crossed, and people kind of misinterpret what's being said in the context of who said it, right? So there was an interview where George Cottle, who took the Instagram, he wrote, "That's a wrap on Skeleton Crew." Oh, Skeleton Crew's done. They're done. They've wrapped. It's done. It's finished. Oh, it's ahead of time. Jason Ward's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He said that it's behind schedule.
It's fair. Completely fair.
So there you go. I've introduced it. You want to give us some context there, Jason? You want?
Yeah. Me, Nick, and Bespin, we're playing Fortnite. I'm like, hey, George Cottle's saying they wrapped, but that's not accurate, is it? You know something I don't know? And then we both send out messages, and then he gets it back first, and it's like, nah, that they're just, stunts are done. That's it. Stunts are done. And I think the original person who shared that, who tweeted it, I think they literally saw his message and like truly believe that. But then when you get into the industry people who were going with it, I'm like, they know that this doesn't mean that, but it's just cooler to say that. And by the time anybody corrects it, it would probably usually have wrapped. So, you can't get called on it, but it's just like, people should know at this point how movies are made. Like, there comes a point where if you've been following Star Wars for 4 or 5 years and you read the behind the scenes stuff and you're still kind of confused about how movies are made, I'm like, come on, are you serious right now? Like, on that one especially. But yeah, it sounds like the next 1 to 1.5 months will be pickups. And you know what I mean, close-ups that were missing and stuff like that. And this is just my assumption. The working with children wouldn't make me wouldn't surprise me if there were certain days when little Tommy had to go back to school and couldn't be there, and they couldn't keep him past time, and they ran out of time, and they still need that shot of that close-up of the little elephant kid or something, so they have to go and do it. So I would kind of imagine it's stuff like that, though, that they have left. And there's a big sequence in that I talked about with the spa, the opulent hotel, and they're still filming stuff on that. Like, that's still going on now. So it's pretty wild.
Jason, do we know for sure that the kid is this is an ortolan, the same species as Max Rebo?
To 100% be honest, the answer is, if I asked somebody working on it if he's an Autolon, they would say, "What the hell are you talking about, nerd?" They would have no clue. He's like a little elephant guy. Yeah, what? I mean, that's where I'm at with it. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Maybe a new species, because the way they talk seems a bit not logistical.
One time when I saw a thing, a piece of reference from it, it actually had the elephant from Captain EO on a board full of different things that were being pulled from on a printout. And so that makes me feel like it's for sure that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it comes out and it's some new species called, elephant kid or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Who knows? Elephant. They're going back to the original Star Wars. This is elephant face,
Yeah. And
I do love when characters don't have names as well. Whether it's a species, like Frog Lady doesn't have a species.
Yeah, I saw.
Frog.
On a side note, I saw some shots of the costume for Jude Law, and in parentheses it just says the teacher. So I think that was like almost a confirmation on what I had heard, that he was a teacher. But the question is, though, is that a code? Is that like a code in the most general way? It is it's obviously a nickname, a code, but it's like, is he really like, the middle school teacher, or is he teaching the kids how to be criminals in the Wild West of Star Wars? That's kind of like
a
where I'm
smuggler
at with
type
it.
thing.
A what?
A smuggler.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when Jude Law was first announced, I was like, really? In Star Wars? And now I'm like fully on board.
But that pretentious scarf that says like teacher.
I love that though.
I know.
Star
If
Wars.
it's a teacher, yeah, you're like, yeah.
Or-
Otherwise,
or-
it's kind of a little bit of a hipster.
Or is he like Miss Frizzle? That's what I want to know. Is he
Who's
Miss
Miss
Frizzle?
Frizzle? Who's Miss Frizzle?
Magic School Bus. Come on now. You've got
Oh,
kids.
that's after my time, and after my kids are like, they don't Magic School Bus. It ain't a thing anymore.
Magic School. Meg, did you ever watch Magic School Bus? Do you know Miss Frizzle?
No.
Am I the only
Yes.
nerd
You're the only
that's-
one.
Yes.
It's only you. No, I'm kidding. No, I remember the cartoon being on HBO. I like wake up in the morning and be like on HBO or something. I'm like, what is this crap? I'm like 24, turning it off.
Alexander Toledo. At least somebody gets me. What's funny is, and by the way, Chillmonger says, I watch Meg. It's the stunts that's wrapped. This is what I would recommend to everybody. Whether you agree with everything Meg believes or not, it doesn't really matter. Meg's Star Wars content is literally the best Star Wars content you can find on YouTube. And
Thank
you
you,
should be
Sam. Funny
subscribed. Whether you think that she's too short, she's too tall, she's too British, it doesn't matter, because her content is the best. So you should.
I mean, I'm going to
watching
say
it.
buy America first, but if you can't, then you buy Meg.
Right.
She's the best little info for Jedha I've ever heard.
Dawn Basham. She loved the bus going through the body. Yeah. Just so oftentimes my jokes land flat. Like people are just like, Santa, leave it for the professionals. You're not good. You're not good.
I disagree. I like the jokes. They make me laugh.
So,
I also love Mike
Porter.
Porter, so I was
going to say,
I'm asking us, but
leave
still,
it
I
for
love
the,
you. I love you, Mike.
for Mike Porter, because my wife, as many of you know, she had eye surgery,
Yeah.
and they put gas bubble in her eyeball to help it heal, and that gas bubble is commonly known as laughing gas. And so what I said, does it make you see funny? And she's like, oh, that's terrible. So I went to the Buckeye Santa meeting last weekend, and we got a room full of old people like me, older than me, many of them,
Yeah.
most of them, and their wives, and they're all there. And I was, I dropped the line on them. I gave them the setup. I said, oh, so it makes her see funny, and the entire room just looked at me like,
You know why? They don't want a funny Santa. They're always trying to stand out. The funny Santa.
I was like,
Okay.
come on now, that's gold. It's gold.
Is there like a secret like Santa handshake that you don't have to tell us what it is, but is there one?
Well, there is a bit of a I can't say it with you two.
See, can't even say it.
Like I could say it amongst other Santas, and it's no problem. But the second I say it with you two,
Yeah,
it's going to get misused.
You've got to say it now.
Now
You
you
can't do
have
that
to
big
say it,
disclaimer and
yeah.
not say it.
You're both naughty, and you both see things, from a certain perspective.
Oh,
But at Santa meetings, we'll often say, "Give me a hoe." You say, "Ho." We say, "Give me a ho ho."
I'm with you guys. I'm with you on this Christmas agenda.
That's brilliant. I like that one.
Now we say, "Give me a ho ho ho," and of course everybody goes ho ho ho. And what does that mean? Merry Christmas.
That's what me and Meg say.
I don't know if you ever saw one of the recent-ish Family Guy Christmas specials, but Peter Griffin meets Santa, and Santa gets upset that Peter Griffin says ho 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 because he said it's pronounced ho ho ho.
I haven't seen it.
The
haven't
emphasis
seen
is
it.
on the middle ho.
And my favorite, one of my favorite Santa jokes is, why does Santa have 3 gardens? Because he likes to ho ho ho. Right. There's different meanings between ho. I'm just saying.
Agree to disagree. I don't know what that is.
So, hey, we're talking about the Skeleton Crew. I'm going to try
Skeleton
desperately
Crew.
to get back to it. Meg mentioned, look, there have been some issues with the production of it, and
Yeah, do you think that George didn't care? Everyone's like, "Oh, George is totally in trouble." I'm wondering if George is like, "We're done, bye." I'm curious. I don't want to put that there if it's not there, but I wonder if it was.
Wait, what are we talking about?
throwing some shade, saying, "Well, our part's done."
Just not even
You
caring
guys-
anymore. Just being like, "I'm good, bye."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad this is behind us because
Yeah, we got.
one of the guys in the photo, I think, even had like some of a costume on. And the photo's not around anymore. But in the photo that he had, one of the people it looked like part of a costume on that they were wearing part of a costume in the photo. And but the photo is not on Bestman Bulletin, I noticed today. And I was like, I didn't screenshot it, but I'm sure somebody has it somewhere.
Oh yeah, because you can't delete anything on the internet. Trust me,
No.
I've tried.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. But the production issues. Originally, the Skeleton Crew was listed on the 2023 list of shows. Excuse me, that were going to come out. Star Wars for Disney Plus. The latest one that came out does not include Skeleton Crew on it, and the reporting that you have done, and Bestman as well, is that look, there's been some reshoots going on. The crew haven't been treated the best in the world. They're working their butts off. They're doing great work. It's fantastic stuff they're doing, but they're not being treated the way they should be treated. And morale isn't necessarily the best that it's been on any other project. So
Sometimes it gets like conveyed that it's all like crunch, that it's all like the grind. And it's not necessarily that. To some degree, it's just pure like basic respect. And a few of the production managers or manager are not cool and just they're not a people person, and they probably shouldn't be there, considering the fact that I feel like if I hear something 5 times, it means there's 50 people who wanted to say it. That's usually kind of like where that stuff seems to fall. And that's just a guess, but that's kind of where it seems to fall on that stuff. And like I said, it started with Mando 3, moved on to Skeleton Crew, and Skeleton Crew is where it came to the biggest head. Now, but the thing about it is, does this mean I get tweets pretty consistently? Are you worried that it's going to suck? Yeah, John Watts is a dick. I've heard that a lot. But does it mean it's going to suck? It doesn't, because the crew are professionals. They can be dumped on and then go and do a good job still, because that's what a professional does. And the issues aren't script issues. The issues aren't performance issues. The issues are primarily a production manager who really sucks. That's what it really comes down to for most of this stuff. So do I think it's going to be bad? It doesn't mean that. Most of your favorite movies, Back to the Future had one of the worst productions of all time, not because of a production manager, but it had production issues. Production issues do not have anything to do with the final product on a film, because everyone's a professional. That's what we need to remember.
yeah, I've heard similar when you talk about whatever your favorite sports ball is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get coaches that are not well liked by their team. Doesn't mean that they are going to play less effectively or perform at a lower level, because they're professional athletes. They're performing at a very, very high level. And they want to be hired by another team if they ever get let go. Or if the coach is replaced, they want to be retained, right? They don't want to lose their job. They want to, they're doing what they do because they're passionate about it. And it's the same for these production teams. Getting to work on Star Wars, and many of them, it's a dream come true. It's fantastic. But the working conditions may not be the best. And we've heard that between Skeleton Crew and Mando season 3, that they both share these kind of issues because they were shot in the same area of the world, right?
Yeah.
Southern California. But Ahsoka was also shot in that area, and they don't have these. So it's like
Because-
if somebody's working on Skeleton Crew, they're like,
Yeah.
dang, I really wish I was on that Ahsoka set because that project, because my project sucks and that one's a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they now should very, very well know exactly who everyone is complaining. And I had some people ask me like, well, if they're breaking union rules, why don't they just go to their union rep? Like actually, like, and it's like, have you ever had a job where the job has broken the union rules, and you like, if you're the one to go, like what that means
Look,
when you're
all
the
this
one
union
to
talk,
step up?
there are elves who listen, and we don't need any of this union kind of nonsense at the North Pole. Just warning
Sorry.
you guys,
Oh,
back down on the union
sorry,
stuff
Santa.
a little bit.
I'm sorry, Santa. Oh my gosh, I respect you so much. I'm just gonna leave it there, Fran. I'm just gonna leave it
Jason.
there.
You said that they're all professionals.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that a random YouTube channel I came across who said that Jon Favreau kicked Kathleen Kennedy out the studio was false?
No, that's
I'm
totally
shocked.
true. That's completely. Like I always say, like if you watch WWE, that's what a film production's just like. It's just like that, you know.
It's like-
It's pretty much just like that. Yeah.
Hey, we're joking, right? Again, we have folks.
You might be.
We have folks trolling in the stream who don't know the difference.
That is true. They often watch those kind of channels.
They do, and then it'll get clipped out and used against you in the wrong way. But,
I don't care. Don't care.
They have no real content, so they have to rely on drama. So
That's true. Bobby Knight is an example a lot of people have used from the sports ball. If you don't know who Bobby Knight is, then
don't.
you know it's college basketball, Indiana University, greatest of all time, and he was formerly a player for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So,
Did you see what Dawn says? She says, "Hey, I love WWE, Jason. It's my Mel soap opera. It's that last part that makes that okay. When you say it's my Mel soap opera,
and
like,
Killmonger,
that's
perfect.
really-
Kennedy was tossed over the top rope, and John's going to WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. I love it, Chillmonger. That's what we got to start calling that BS. WrestleMania. Oh,
Chillmonger.
right? Did you make that up? Because I'm still in
For
the
the win.
and I just want to know who you stole it from.
For the win, Chillmonger. Absolutely. That's great. Hey, tonight we get Bad Batch. And Meg gave us a preview video today. And the title of tonight's episode is Entombed. Now, we do a little predictions game here. And their question, the link to the predictions form is in the description here. You can find it other places. I'll make sure I post it again to Patreon, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all those places, and Discord, so that you can play along as well. It's a ton of fun. And if you get as many questions correct or more than me, you end up on the Wall of Fame like our friends TBC Mac and Q and Nerd Mafia, Baymax, and the folks you see scrolling along underneath the stream. And then this past week, we actually have 2 pages of it. Brian Stone, Darth. A lot of folks made it onto the list with 14 correct, because that's what Santa got, 14 correct. And then there's a season leaderboard where if you get more correct on the season than Santa, you'll end up with some Star Wars Santa merch, like maybe this T-shirt. I don't know. I've got hats. Let's see if I where's my hat?
it's got thumbs.
Meg, naughty. But anyhow, tonight is the Entombed, and one of the questions is, what could Entombed?
I've got my
refer to?
psychic hat on. I'm going to tell you what the episode's about. They start at Sid's parlor, and then Omega's like, "We got to go do something dangerous. Come on, let's put us all in danger again." And then she falls down a hole in a random abandoned building. She asks Tech, "What were the Clone Wars like?" And he's like, "I already told you in season 1, we've done this." And then she's entombed for an episode, and then it ends on suspense. And then she learns a valuable lesson,
I
not
think
to
they go
fall down holes.
to a haunted man, and then they find an old Jedi mummy, and they unleash it, and it chases them around the mansion like Scooby Doo. That's what I see in my mind. Okay,
I love it. I love it. But there, I think there are three primary theories out there that are viable, and I don't know which one to kind of lean into.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is it could be like the amber that the Jedi were entombed in Kenobi, right? We could be going to Fortress Inquisitorius and seeing entombed Jedi. That's theory number one. Theory number two is it could be oh shoot, what's her name? Who's dead?
Luminara.
Luminara. Yeah. Luminara. It could be Luminara. That's it's similar to one but different, right? So it could be that. Three is it could be like that great big beast that was in the trailer coming out of the mountain. Like it was entombed in the mountain and it breaks free.
Would that be Entombed? That sounds more like Mountain Breakouts. Because Entombed is very strict as a definition, I would say, compared to some other words that evokes a similar kind of thing. You might be right. I just think it's got more of a sinister meaning.
Maybe. I don't know. That's what I'm like. I don't have a guide on. It could be like when Ahsoka and what's her name in the Clone Wars on my brain is hiccuping.
Mortis.
Mortis. No, not Mortis.
Okay,
no,
I'm just gonna think
the battle of
Jedha.
Geonosis. Geonosis. Battle of Geonosis. On Geonosis, Ahsoka and the other Padawan get kind of entombed in a tank.
Oh,
and
Barriss Sophie? Is that the Barriss Sophie one?
That's it. Barriss. Trev, saving me. My goodness, my brain's terrible. But Barriss, yeah. So Ahsoka and Barriss are entombed in that tank. It could be something like that. Maybe the Bad Batch get entombed with they
call the entire episode Entombed for a sequence of getting stuck in a tank?
I think you're stuck in like a crypt or something. That's what I think of when I hear it, though. You know what I mean? Like you're down in the ground, personally. But who knows?
You're down in the ground.
So
down in the ground.
If you were,
you're not a juggalo. I'm joking.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to the gathering, aren't you? Isn't that where I met you?
I think so.
At the gathering, the juggalos.
Oh, Trev says buried alive. Right, buried alive. We also had a similar kind of thing in Bad Batch season 1 when they were sort of entombed underwater in the last 2 episodes, right? And they had to get free.
Jedi Jen is right. This is the episode where Hunter tries to tune his guitar, but he just can't get it right.
I heard that too, Jedi Jen. I was trying to I was keeping away from making the jokes about being out of tune. I was like, nobody's going to get it, but apparently Jen would. So.
By the way, why are we so dismissive of this Kenobi tie-in? I know it's unlikely, but there's got to be something good.
I'll tell you why. 14 episodes went out to 14 bajillion people, and none of them said, dude, Kenobi's in it. That's why I think it's not. I think if it was somebody who was very significant, it would be out and about, and we'd hear about it. So I'm just encouraging people who want to enjoy the show not to expect something that good or that big of terms of like that kind of thing. Don't you think that would probably have made its way around? I mean, like what I'm trying to say is like when somebody's like telling us like, oh yeah, like the point of the season is getting towards Death Troopers and how they're created. But you didn't tell me about Obi-Wan Kenobi? Are you serious right now? You know what I mean?
Spoil the season for all of us.
Well, that's what it sounds like it's doing.
Jason, you're a leaker. You're a known leaker. How dare you leak things?
Sorry.
By the way, Jason, is Luke going to be in the Ahsoka series? I know you've never been asked that question before.
Hey, the answer is he is Ahsoka. That's what's going to blow people
In
away.
case you don't get the reference, there's this one girl who, on like every video Jason puts out, she asks the same question.
I mean, I'm glad that she's that excited for it, but yeah, I've even like I sent her like the pictures of like the autograph and stuff, and I'm like, here's our like, this is on the Sabine character actor's birthday card, and like here's the writing, and here's a writing sample of Mark Hamill, and like it's not signed, so I'm like, it's a pretty big clue, but that's the best we got at the moment. And then the next day asked again. I almost feel like it's a bot at this point.
I think it is.
The
in
Hamill
my
bot.
predictions. So I'm going to ask you a really tough question, but in my predictions, I originally put Entombed is going to refer to these amber enclosures similar to what we saw in Kenobi. That's what
Amber
I put.
Heard?
That Entombed was going that Entombed was going to refer to. Now I'm not as confident. Right now, if I were to make a guess and I had to pick a thing, I would say it's the beast that we see coming out of the mountain in the trailer. That's where I would put it. Where would you put, if you just had to guess today, where do you think Entombed refers to?
I'm dead serious when I say the Bad Batch will get stuck somewhere.
Very good.
That's
I
it.
like your guess that maybe they get trapped in there with the monster. Then at the end it gets out, right? But
Yep.
That's possible. But once again, what was the last episode called? Like Faster? That did not give me any indications that we were going to get a pod race style episode. So for all I know, Sid's like, I'm getting older and I wanted to make my will. And, it's about that. I have no idea what to expect.
I really like that. Or it could be Sid's relative's funeral this week, and they all go have a Trandoshan funeral.
Right.
I love when Trandoshans come up because Santa can never say it right.
No, I always put them in LGBTQ plus, Transdoshans.
Transdoshan.
I always call them trans. I don't know. It's maybe they've got gender identity things. I don't know.
It's convenient. Their stuff can grow back different. So
maybe I
just throwing it out there.
Another
reptiles
thing,
every
though,
now and then can switch their gender based on
I feel like
necessities.
Trandoshans are like Rogue One. People always spell it Rouge One.
Rouge One. Yeah. I've caught that one a few times. Like when I had COVID and I spelled Ahsoka wrong. And it was like, I can't believe everything this guy says. You can't spell Ahsoka.
I think I was the one who said that to you, Jason.
Yeah, but you weren't the last.
Okay. I wasn't the problematic one.
No.
We also have a Mike Porter dad joke. I don't want to miss that. I did look on Patreon. We still don't have any Patreon super chat questions. So I'll leave that, but we do have a very good Mike Porter dad joke, Star Wars related. It says, "What did the smuggler say to the young Jedi?"
What?
"I gotta hand it to you, kid. You look good out there today. You look good out there today."
And Mike Porter came up with that solo.
He did solo. Mike Porter, I love it. A really good one. So yeah, tonight I don't know is the short for me. I'm going to lean into the monster is the Entombed, but that's probably wrong.
When I filled out my form, my guess was there was space. Will that count if there's space?
Well, ironically, it'll be the one episode where we don't leave a planet. So
right. It'll just.
Well, do you remember the minecart episode from season 1? Under Sid's office, there's the mines down there that they went into, and we got the Indiana Jones minecart episode.
I thought that was Ryloth.
I thought it was under Sid's office. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe
I
I'm
haven't
wrong.
watched.
That's if it's under Sid's office, that's some Goonies level stuff right there. I don't
know.
I
My
thought it was
brain
somewhere
wants to
else.
put it there. I thought it was
Yeah.
underneath, but I could be. Again, my brain does stupid things.
Do you
Season
want
one,
to hear a really big fail of like a prediction on Santa's thing? I think last week I said Echo's going to interact with Hunter,
You did.
and they were the two characters not in it.
Yeah.
I asked you this last week. Do you guys think that if this week we'll get like Hunter without the rest of the characters from the last episode, like just like Hunter, and who else wasn't in it? Somebody else wasn't in it too.
Echo.
It's been confirmed by
Echo. Do you think
Dominic,
Hunter and Echo?
Lobo,
Okay,
and
so
Mumbo
under Sid.
Jimbo have all said it's under Sid's office.
It is under Sid's office. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say was in season 1, they did a lot of reusing of Clone Wars assets that were created and underused in that show, like the farm and stuff. So we haven't really seen anything get super reused yet. And that is a lot of environment if they do continue to reuse, to not reuse. So I can see them doing that.
That's a question that has come up, and I think this is especially with Meg here. She's really good at this kind of thing. There's been a lot of people asking, "Is that the Zillow Beast? Could that be the Zillow Beast coming out of that mountain?"
I think
The
there are a
answer
few
is-
differences. I can't remember who pointed it out, but there are some noticeable differences. I've kind of realized with our discussions and kind of just seeing how they do animation, we tend to want to connect things to the wider Star Wars universe, but more often than not, everything's just a new character.
Yeah. But as Jason was saying, they like to reuse assets. Well, the Zillow Beast exists, but this doesn't look like the Zillow Beast to me,
No.
right? I don't think it's the Zillow Beast. Now, what do you think? If it had any Zillow Beast reference, my theory would be that it was a strand cast that Palpatine was messing with the Zillow Beast DNA to come up with something. They generated this new monster.
I think that's canon. I think he did that, didn't he?
Well, he
Palpatine.
wanted to. I don't know that he created a new.
Was
a new
somebody's
beast.
armor like made from Zillow Beast material or something?
Yes,
Who was it?
but it escapes my mind who that was.
Yeah, there was something about that
Well,
in the new canon.
And I get frustrated all the time when I watch people talk about the ending of Mando season 2 being ruined because they took away all of the weight of the ending by reuniting Mando and Grogu too soon. And I keep trying to tell people that had you listened to interviews with Jon Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy, I know Kathleen Kennedy is a controversial topic within the controversial
Only
person
because
within-
they WWE'd it into that though. It's not in reality. In reality, she's not controversial.
She's
pretty
really
middle
not.
of
If
the
you
road.
guys see at Celebration, she always gets cheered from the audience.
Always. Yeah.
But you listen to people on YouTube and you get the impression they all just boo her.
Exactly.
She's not
Exactly.
Courtney
They
Love.
don't know what an executive producer does. They
there was
think all they know is Kevin Feige. They don't know the difference though. She's not a Kevin
There
Feige.
was an
She's not
interview
creative at all.
where Kathy was talking to John, and John told her specifically
Yeah.
that Mandalorian was based off of a movie back from the 70s that was remade into another movie that you may have also heard of that was in the 80s, and now it's been reproduced again in The Mandalorian, and that's Paper Moon.
Oh, Paper
Yeah.
Moon's over Miami.
It's Paper Moon. The ending was not retconned. It wasn't changed. Nobody come in and said we need more Grogu to sell merch. It was before they ever created
Okay.
Mandalorian.
I
That
have
was
a
the
comeback.
storyline.
I'm gonna come back to that though. So if Paper Moon as a structure is about unlikely people put together who then are the point is for them to separate. And then you're supposed to be like, oh, and then they finally achieve the goal and then they come back at the very end. But then what happens? It's over.
Right.
And that's not what they're doing. So they ended up hanging it onto the structure that's going to continue. So there's sort of a flaw in that, in the sense that if you were going to do it, the separation needs to have the same weight and levity as the rest of the previous 2 seasons. Now, I'm not saying that equates to 2 seasons of them being separated, but it needs to be more than one story. It needs to be that. So when they are reunited that quick, I think structurally it's bad. And then, but the follow up to it is people keep going. But what the creators are thinking, I think, is time. In reality, before we get back to Mando season 3 was going to be like 2 to 3 years. Therefore, do we want to make the audience suffer through that for that long? We don't. So we're going to do it in Book of Boba Fett. And then people keep going, oh, now you need to watch the Book of Boba Fett or you don't know what's happening. If you just go watch the first minute of Kenobi, you don't even have to watch the rest of it. I don't care if you do, but go watch it. And you're like, oh, wow, they created montages. No, they didn't create montages. They just exist. And don't worry, there's going to be a little baby montage there, a little baby Yoda. And you're going to know what happened if you didn't watch it, even though you did. So I don't know why you're complaining about it.
Right. No, I will acquiesce on this. That I think they put it into Book of Boba Fett because they know how important Grogu is to their franchise, and to put it into Book of Boba Fett instead of like a epilogue to Mandalorian season 2 was to up the interest in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I think that, like, and the other thing is, I don't, and there's evidence that, like, they didn't know Grogu was going to blow up to be this. Right? They didn't anticipate this is going to be the biggest selling merch in Star Wars history. They didn't ever have that idea. And it blew up, and they're like, oh crap, we need more Grogu. So I do think that there's some element of that.
I got something to add to that. You talk about that a lot. I keep wanting to tell you this, and I keep forgetting. So sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but this I wanted to when they were pulling on that, and then they started to see it was going to become a thing. Their actual answer was, "This is great that we don't have." I'm not even kidding. It's great that we don't have any Grogu merchandise because it's going to blow up when we do. They knew that they were creating like a market for it by withholding it. And I that may be the way that we go forward in the future with characters. I'm just throwing that out there. That may be a thing that they've learned from the Grogu situation. So sorry, but I just meant to tell you that. And I keep
no, that's very good. And there you do see where the actors and like George Lucas, anybody that interacted with that puppet on the set were like, holy crap, this is a game changer. Like, this is amazing. And it kind of, they all kind of have that kind of experience with it. But I would say that the original Paper Moon storyline probably got pushed out after that. Like, okay, it was based on Paper Moon. It was going to be, end the way that Paper Moon ended. But now, right, we need to keep him in. We need the story's going to continue, and we'll develop it from there.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
and I think after Mando started the Paper Moon storyline, and then Book of Boba Fett wrapped it up, and then Kenobi literally did it again. Yeah. And then Bad Batches, in some ways, it has a Paper Moon-esque quality to it, but it doesn't. They're not really taking her somewhere. They don't plan on separating. They did though, but I'm gonna say they need to no more Paper Moon. You guys have done the Paper Moon thing. Go find a different 70s movie to fall in love with and riff on.
Yeah. I mean, Curly Sue was the 80s version of it. That was a remake, and now it's here. And they're also yeah. And now they're talking about doing it again. What was it with not Star Wars? There was another one that fits that same model. But anyhow, yeah.
Rebel Moon. If Rebel Moon is a Paper Moon thing, I'm done. I'm just like, I'm over it.
Skeleton Crew. Oh my goodness. Hey, we've had a lot of fun hanging out together today. What did I miss? Are we good?
I think we're good. I think we did it.
At the end of Friday, we had to kind of go quickly because I drank this whole thing. There's a little bit left in there, but I sort of need to end the stream. So
Let's
I can
go.
start a different stream. It has to happen.
Yeah. I know a lot of you are just peeing with your phone in your hand, but we can't do that. So give us a break.
And we know where Meg goes when she has to.
Oh dear.
Hey, Meg is in the UK. I think they use chamber pots over there. That's what I think.
Or just, beside the road in some random field.
Oh, yes.
That is true.
Like,
I want to say something I really can't say on YouTube, but I agree.
All right, Meg. I'm gonna meet you in the middle here, Meg, and tell you I had peed on the Mando set.
Wait,
Peed
seriously?
on the Mando- Yeah. What do you? I'm out there by the train tracks. There's nobody
Like,
around.
on the set.
Yeah.
I
Why
thought
not?
that was Rain. Chapter 13. I thought that was Rain.
Nope, that was me. I was like, check this, Disney Star Wars.
Wow.
But Meg posted on Twitter today like a highlight from Star Wars Meg and Santa,
Yes.
a comedic moment that was fantastic. And I was like, oh, but I've got another one she could have posted that she didn't post that one.
I was retweeting Dominic, who I'm sure after this is going to post the field story. But no, he basically put out a thing from a year ago where I did a Jabba the Hutt impression going to get a cappuccino at Starbucks.
Yes, it was great. It was a lot of fun. So we're friends here. We have a great time. I've been looking forward to live streaming with you again all weekend. It did not disappoint at all. I had a great time. Can't wait for Book of Boba Fett. Not Book of Boba Fett. What am I talking about? The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch tonight.
I really have to pee.
Looking forward to that. And Jason Ward, are you doing a show today or tonight or tomorrow or
Yeah,
what's your deal?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it today.
Okay. All right.
You should
be
link
there.
us.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
You guys are
If I'm
always
not careful. I might just show up.
Yeah, I mean, you can just show up and tell Rob to shut up. That's cool with me. You guys want to just Rob a little bit? He's kind of coming. That's cool. I mean, he's mine. So if you guys want to beat him up, you guys can. It's cool.
It's great. All right. Well, you guys make sure you're following Jason Ward, the Making Star Wars show, and not only the website, but the YouTube channel. It's great, and of course, Star Wars Meg, the best Star Wars content creator on YouTube by far. And there's another channel. Just if you don't get enough Meg through Star Wars Meg YouTube channel, you can follow her second channel, Meg's Cantina, where you could hear things like the Hoff ambience that I forgot to play during the entire stream today, but is playing right now.
It's not about spaceships.
It's
So about spaceships.
yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. It's been wonderful hanging out with you, and I hope that everybody can go and make the world a little bit better place. Make friends. Be nice.
Be nice.
Show a little grace and forgiveness to folks, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. And I can't wait to talk to you next time. And until then, my friends, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I like
And the
spaceships.
Force be with y'all.